The Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, it was an explosive story back in the summer of 2022. A Warren man on the domestic terrorism watch list blows up his home and burns more than half of his body while meddling with explosive materials.
The lesson was not learned despite losing a hand in this incident. Fox News' Jessica Dupnack joining us live with more on this man's latest arrest. Jessica, fill us in.
Taryn Roop, you'd think losing a hand, burns on 55% of your body, might make you reevaluate some future life choices. Apparently not. You met like Michael Liberty back in 2022. He is back again with even more charges. Federal agents say that when they went to do a probation check on him, they found more explosives and another arsenal. Kind of goes to show you never really know what's going on in people's homes, right?
Exactly.
That's us back in 2022 asking neighbors about 39-year-old Michael Liberty. His house blew up and his hand blew off, tinkering with explosives.
He came out with like one finger full of blood and all types of stuff. He sat out here. He came out talking about, "Where's my dog?"
The dog made it out. Liberty barely did, with second and third degree burns on 55% of his body. He was in a coma for weeks, apparently trying to make marijuana oil via butane extraction. Before the blast, he was on a federal watch list, possibly for domestic terrorism, and Warren PD already had an eye on him. Once investigators got inside his house, uncovering a cache of firearms, 4,000 rounds of ammunition, and explosives. When Liberty eventually healed what he could, he was charged and sentenced for 5 counts of felon in possession and received probation from 16th Circuit Court Judge Catherine Viviano, a seemingly light sentence.
You look at Judge Viviano, very compassionate judge, a very considerate judge who can see giving this individual probation as a sentence that's significant enough to get someone's attention.
Attorney Todd Perkins is not related to this case, but weighing in. We asked him what went into that sentence of probation, especially in light of some new similar charges.
I mean, this guy lost a hand and a forearm. I mean, he's condemned in some way, shape, or form for the rest of his life. That's a life sentence.
Unfortunately, it did not seem to matter. Allegedly, of course. A federal complaint came down this week that lays out the latest accusations against Liberty. During a probation check at his mom's house in Harper Woods, where he lives, federal agents would discover explosives again in the garage and 6 firearms stashed throughout the house. A DNA swab puts Liberty's hand on at least one of the weapons, with a probability of 16 quadrillion times. This is the 3rd round of felonies for Liberty.
That criminal history will follow you into the federal system. It will exasperate and increase the exposure to incarceration.
There is no way Liberty was getting out of custody this time. That's exactly what happened in federal court today. A judge refusing bond, remanding him to custody. He will stay in federal custody as he works through these new charges, and on top of that, the probation violations. Reporting live, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Oh, if he was a convicted felon, Jessica, how was he able to get those 6 guns? I mean, it sounds like he had quite a bit of ammunition and weapons on hand, and no one seemed to be watching.
Yeah, in a network, Taryn. I think 3 of those guns came from out of state. So he also racked up some additional charges for interstate commerce. But yeah, he was doing this all under the radar and able to do it well, at least until he got caught.
Yeah, well, thorough report, and we appreciate it. Thanks, Jessica. It was a horrific attack. A man approaches a woman in a Target parking lot in Troy and begins assaulting her for no apparent reason.
Amanda Poshenik went into survival mode, and her strength in fighting back saved her life.
Yes, today in court, she gave a powerful impact statement as her attacker learned his fate.
On that day, he ripped open my door as I was trying to shut it, told me to be quiet, placed a gun to my head, and demanded that I get in my back seat. This was not an option, so I immediately grabbed the gun from my head and fought. During our struggle for control of the gun, he asked me if I was crazy, and then savagely punched me, shattering the right side of my head. He forced himself on top of me and began strangling me in order to silence my screams, squeezing and pushing his entire weight onto my neck so I couldn't breathe. And I was so sad that I wasn't going to see my baby boy turn 1. but that thankfully at least I got to be his mom for 10 months. As I was dying, I stared into his eyes because I wanted to make sure that he would never forget my face, and I hope it haunts him.
What a monster. The judge told the victim her bravery was inspirational. She also went on to call Andrew Hall pure evil as she sentenced him to 27 to 40 years for the attack. He's currently serving 40 to 60 years behind bars for killing a woman in Detroit just 4 days after the attack on Paschanek. A tragic day on the freeway as 2 people lose their lives in a crash on I75 near downtown Detroit.
And as you can see, the driver of the black SUV crashed into the back of a semi-tractor. The crash occurring around 3:40 this afternoon at Clay. It appears the driver of the SUV lost control when it hit the truck, killing both people inside that vehicle. We're told the driver was a 64-year-old from Oxford, and the passenger was 53 years old from Rochester Hills. The freeway has since reopened.
The most common behaviors were speeding, distracted driving, and aggressive driving.
AAA releasing a concerning report tonight. More than half of all drivers on the road engage in dangerous behavior. According to the new Traffic Safety Culture Index report, fewer drivers perceive speeding as dangerous, which is now considered an epidemic on our roadways. Only 4 in 10 people surveyed fall into the safe drivers category.
But when you don't pay attention behind the wheel, this can happen. A man in Chesterfield Township woke up in the middle of the night to find a street sweeper stuck in his front yard.
He drove basically alongside my driveway until he hit the trees, or he didn't hit the trees, but till he came to the trees in the back and turned right, till he saw the houses there, made another right-hand turn, and drove the perimeter of the property.
So he made a full lap around your yard.
The owner of Supreme Sweep tells us the driver was not under the influence and he's not sure what happened. The driver was supposed to be on a Southfield route. It's not clear why he was in Chesterfield.
Another gloomy day today, but what if we told you that some 50-degree temperatures are actually on the way?
Sounds good. Rich Luderman tells us when we can expect a warm-up.
Taryn Root, 50 in December. It's a great thing. We did have a weak system pass through the region today, and yes, we did see some light rain showers, some wet flakes for some of us, but that is weakening as it's moving down through the mid-Atlantic. Here's our next weather maker. It's in the Pacific Northwest with some heavy rain in and around Seattle. For us right now, there are some breaks in the clouds, but it's going to be dry for the rest of tonight, and what we need is some sunshine, and we have some breaks of sun over the next few days. How about live pictures from SeaTac Airport? This is just outside of Seattle. That's all wet weather there. 48 degrees with that system out west. For us today, 37 and 30, your official high and low. Pretty close to where we should be when you put all the numbers together. Look at the record, 67 on the high side, a 6 back in 1974. Right now, a lot of us near 30 degrees, give or take a few. Thankfully, there's not a lot of wind out there, a light breeze from the north and west. Certainly the coldest of the air is well up to our north and northeast. How about 19 in North Bay, Ontario, 18 out there in Montreal, 30 as far north as Marquette, 33 in Chicago, 41 down in Cincy. So weak low pressure pulls away from the area. It's going to be cool tomorrow, but if we get some breaks of sun, it's going to feel better. Then milder air builds in starting Thursday. That'll last into Friday and Saturday, but some wet weather is likely for parts of the weekend. You'll see it in the 7-day. Chilly tonight, dry, down to 28. Tomorrow's not a bad day. Sun and clouds, cool and dry, 40 degrees. And then in the 7-day forecast, 48 Thursday, 52 on Friday. Yes, we're going to get some wet weather at times for the weekend, but look at Saturday, 54. Chilly into early next week. We'll check it for you starting at 4 a.m.
We are the Union! We are the Union! Mighty, mighty Union!
A number of workers from the Orchards, a skilled nursing and rehab center in Northwest Detroit, hitting the picket line tonight. They say their pay is pretty low and they should be compensated appropriately for their work, which includes taking care of the elderly and mental patients. The workers have been without a contract since the end of October.
Service deserves to make their money through their tips. It's a service. It's truly based on hospitality and your attitude.
Servers and bartenders calling for their current tipped wage system to remain in place. The state Supreme Court is set to rule whether servers can make nearly $12 an hour in addition to tips. It follows an increase in the state's minimum wage. Critics say moving to a flat rate could do more harm than good. Michigan justices will hear oral arguments on Thursday.
Well, the Michigan State police trooper accused of shooting and killing a dog. The whole incident caught on the homeowner's Ring doorbell cam.
Troopers were investigating a report about a stolen vehicle in Washtenaw County. Fox 2's Charlie Langton has a closer look at this video and why the dog's owner is getting ready to take that trooper to court.
But at 5:30 Friday, December 1st, Michigan State Police were investigating a possible stolen vehicle at Ollie's home in Manchester. And that's where the trooper met Darius.
Get back! This thing just f***ing bit me.
And a three-legged dog named Oakley. Oakley was not shot. The trooper's lying when he said Darius bit him?
I believe so, yeah.
Darius, a 90-pound Belgian Malinois who would have turned 5 this Christmas. Allie got him when he was just a pup.
It's like he come to my property and my home, dog's house, and killed the family member, you know. It's just not justified to me.
Allie's video shows the trooper, after the shooting, searching the home. He doesn't seem to be hurt. You don't have any stolen cars on your property.
No, I do not.
Allie runs a successful auto collision repair shop in Ypsilanti, and he certainly would have cooperated with the troopers had they called him.
They could have called me, they could have turned their sirens on, they could have talked on a speaker.
Despite the sign on Ollie's property warning of a dog, according to Michigan State Police Regulation 0509, troopers do have the right to shoot a dog to protect themselves or others from being attacked. What would you say to the state trooper that shot your dog?
I will tell him he's wrong and he needs to really grow up and not kill family members and be serious about using your gun.
In Ypsilanti, Charlie Langton, Fox 2 News.